Hey homeschoolers, I'm Melissa Webb, former full-time classroom teacher and homeschool mom turned full-time business CEO and encourager to homeschool families everywhere. I am determined and dedicated to helping you in this journey that you're on. Yes, I want to give you sound, educational, practical tips and advice, at the same time making sure that you're enjoying the family journey that you are on. So if you are looking for a place to be encouraged and inspired, you have found the perfect podcast. Homeschooling is a work of heart is truly the perfect place to start. So welcome. Let's jump in. Well, hello there, homeschoolers. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. What do you think of all this rain? It's been a lot, but hey, here's something great that has come from the rains. Out where I live, we're out on a plateau. And so there are these vernal pools that are dry beds most of the year. It's just amazing. It looks just like dry dirt, grass, weeds until the rains come. And those vernal pools fill with water, and it's this magical space has come to life. It's just really tremendous. It's the perfect field trip. We used to take our boys out there when they were younger, but Greg and I went for a lovely hike out to the vernal pools, and it was amazing just to see how much they have filled up. I hope that no matter what your weather is, you are finding the things to do that are bringing you great joy. And if you follow me on Facebook, you may have seen a post I shared this week about an unhappy customer of mine. To be more clear, I guess I'd say she was irritated, frustrated, she was confused. The backstory is that she had purchased our semester-long writing program where we teach the persuasive, expository, and narrative types of writing. And each one of those has a 4-week calendar to guide the instruction and help parents and their children go all the way through the many writing steps to write a really strong academic essay. Okay, so they were about 3 weeks in, and her child had said, "Mom, I finished my essay." And the mom was saying, "Well, did you get your review from the teachers? Because we give reviews for final essays." And her child was telling her, "They won't read my essay," which is always great, the way that kids deliver things, right? They refused to read my essay, which of course irritated, frustrated, and confused the mother. Understandable. And it was true. We actually had emailed the student and said, "Hey, you're not quite ready for the essay review. We want to remind you that in the 3rd week, there's what we call polishing week, and that's where you're going to edit and revise. There are a couple videos for you to watch, and there's a checklist for you to complete." And the student had not done that yet. So I was sharing this with the parent, who then was even more confused. Polishing week, what are you even talking about? Right? There was just so much confusion. So then I was getting confused because I was like, "You don't know what polishing week is? It's the 3rd week on the calendar." Okay, long story short, I discovered she was having her daughter complete the writing curriculum that she purchased from us 100% independent of her mom. Her mom was hands off. Her mom believed that being hands off was the right thing to do. Like what she actually said was that she believed that if she was doing the course with her daughter, helping her daughter along the way, she was cheating. Now, isn't that interesting? That is so interesting. And I think that, I could just delve deep right into that as to why and how our society has said that helping another person is cheating. And it's so embedded that we don't want to help our own children with learning. I will just tell you that as a classroom teacher and a homeschooling mom myself, I was shocked when I heard her say that. And I was like, light bulb moment, aha. Okay, I get it. And so we had a great discussion, went back and forth a few times. And once that she had the clarity she needed, like everything is just moving forward beautifully. Everybody is so much happier and the frustration is gone. So I was like, okay, I think we need to have a conversation here because I think I can offer you a pretty surefire remedy for alleviating homeschool frustration. Let's get rid of it, shall we? Now, I actually believe that most parents, I cannot say all parents should homeschool. We're probably in agreement on that, correct? Not everybody should homeschool their children. There's a whole long list of reasons why, but I do believe that most educated parents are certainly qualified to educate their children. You are equipped to teach your children at home. The thing is, I'm not sure that we've done enough work as teachers to share some of our best practices when it comes to teaching, like the 5-step lesson plan. And that's what I want to offer you in today's episode. So you're going to know that you're going to love this episode if your child has ever been bored by what you've been teaching, by the lessons learned, or if your child's ever been confused, you're trying to teach something and you're like, okay, my kid's not getting it. What's going on? Maybe your child feels lost. Maybe you feel lost on this whole homeschooling journey. I am here to tell you, help is on the way. I'm here for you. I am here for you. So let's talk about this. Now, I'm going to say the things that I'm going to go through, you're going to maybe be tempted to like grab paper and a pen and take some notes. You're welcome to do that, of course. But you also can just finish your walk, finish your drive, finish your laundry, and know that in the show notes, there's a link to the 5-step lesson plan in pretty colors and everything so that you have this at hand. So don't feel like I'm going to just rush through this and you're going to have nothing left to refer back to. You certainly will. But here's what I believe. Knowing and understanding how to quickly and really quite simply build a lesson plan that's very effective is going to make, one, you a better teacher. Yay. And two, your child a happier student. Yay, yay, right? This is a win-win-win. Now, of course, you can just keep on winging it the way that you're going, but my guess is that if you are still listening right now, it is because you are fully committed to providing the best homeschool experience possible. And I love that about you. So I just am really proud of you for being here and caring about your child's education the way that you do. I do feel like before I jump in, I should be a little clear here. There are a lot of different kinds of homeschoolers. Are we in agreement here? So some families file a PSA, a private school affidavit, and that literally means you are creating a private school, and your private school may just be you and your kids, but it keeps the government out of what you're teaching and how you're teaching. You still have to file things with the government, but overall you have a lot of freedom. But you don't get support in a PSA. You can go join co-ops and things like that on your own. But if you really want more support, I recommend a charter school. Enrolling in a charter school, a lot of charter schools, not all charter schools, but a lot of charter schools are there to support homeschooling families in the state of California. But keep this in mind. Charter schools are a form of public school. You get public school funding. If you're getting money from your school, you are not in a private school. You are in a public school. You're using your government tax money for the education that you choose. That could be horseback riding, taking classes, materials, textbooks, things you need off of Amazon to teach at home. Okay, but just know that even within the charter school, oh my goodness, there's so many options these days. Back when I first started supporting charter schools, I was a facilitator. I was the credentialed teacher that held parents accountable for staying on track and working through their textbooks and teaching them things like I'm teaching you right now. That was the only thing there was back in 2004 that I knew of. The parent was the teacher. I was more of the guide, just guiding along and making sure, oh, yep, your child's right where your child should be. Hey, we're running a little bit behind. Oh, your child needs a little extra practice. There was that. Now in charter schools, you can be in the homeschool space, but go and use their online instructors. So your child's at home, so you call yourself a homeschooler, but you're not teaching. The parent's not teaching. You have online instructors doing 100% of the teaching. I still think you have a responsibility and a role in that. We'll talk about that. But it's just like going to a brick and mortar. The difference is it's online, so you're at home. I don't know how much homeschooling I would call that personally. You just have online teachers. You're like an online school. A lot of charter schools now even offer a campus with brick and mortar buildings. And these classrooms, your child can go to 2 days a week, 3 days a week. It's kind of a hybrid. It's like they're home a couple days, but then they go to the campus a couple days. So that's an option too. So you teach some, but some other teachers teach some. And then, of course, the other hybrid is you teach some, and then maybe you hire someone like me to help with the writing. Bottom line, no matter what, you are the parent, and you should be hands-on with your children. I believe through high school. I was with my boys all the way through high school. Even if they were at a brick and mortar on a campus, I still wanted to know what they were being taught. I wanted to look at their work from time to time. In high school, obviously a lot less than it was when they were in elementary or middle school, especially when I was homeschooling. Obviously, then I was 100% hands-on. Here's the thing. If you follow a textbook, if you plan your lessons and you do most of the teaching, you really need to start having this 5-step lesson plan mindset that I'm going to tell you about. It's easy enough to keep right there in your brain and just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I have all the 5 parts. But even if your child is enrolled in a class like mine, I would still want parents to be aware of the 5-step lesson plan because there's always a place for you. As a parent, you were your child's first teacher. You will always be teaching your child things from educational, intellectual things, morals and values, to social etiquette and behaviors. You have an important role. So let's learn the 5-step lesson plan. I will tell you, it's been around for decades. It's what I was taught back when I was in college. It's been tweaked through the years. I'm just going to tell it to you the way I always have used it and still use it to this day. And it is made up of these 5 parts. The very first thing you want to do as a teacher getting ready to start a new lesson is to include what's called the anticipatory set. The anticipatory set, the key word is right in there. Anticipation, right? Anticipate. You want to get your child engaged in the learning. So you're going to be explaining like the value of what it is you're going to be learning or why it matters, or maybe get them excited about what they're going to be doing. And this could be for any academic subject. You could be learning about ancient Egypt and mummies. And as you're talking about the anticipatory set, you tell the kids that at the end, after you've learned all about this time in history, you're all going to mummify something. That's an anticipatory set. Your kid is like, what? This is going to be amazing, Mom. Now, this is a very important piece that I think a lot of parents leave out, thinking that you're supposed to just open a textbook and go to page 12. There's no excitement there. So your child saying, this is so boring, of course, I get that. It would be a very boring way to learn. Think about the last thing you got excited to learn about or learn to do. Could have been even a new recipe you wanted to make. The anticipatory set for you is probably the photo you saw of how good it would look when it was cooked. It could be anything that engages the senses of your child, but you want to get them excited. That's the first step. The second step is the instruction. That's when you do the teaching. You're the teacher, you're modeling, you're showing them how something is done, and you're checking to make sure, does that make sense? Do you understand? In my program, the first thing I do is I explain what the style is that we're going to be practicing. I give them some material to read so they can research and take notes. I model what that looks like. All right, does everybody understand what it is you're going to be doing? Great. The third step is guided practice. This is the crucial one, that no matter what, your hands need to be on. This is where the teacher or the parent, in your case, would work alongside the child. You're watching closely in guided practice. In guided practice, you are the guide. You're guiding them. So if you said to them, oh, it looks like here, Mrs. Webb had a video for you. It said that you're to take notes. Have you started your notes? Let me see. Oh, how did you do this? Why did you do that? That's the hands-on. That is not cheating. That is guiding. And if your child is confused, it's a great time to answer questions. Now, after guided practice, children should move to independent practice. So now you've walked away. This is a great one to use as an example, say with math problems. Say you've instructed on how to add fractions with like denominators. You guide your child. So you're doing a problem and your child's doing a problem. With the boys, we used to like make a little race out of it. We'd put the problems up on our little whiteboard that we had in our room, and I'd say, go. And we'd both solve the problem at the same time. That's guided practice because I will very quickly catch my child's doing something incorrectly. Then I put 3 more problems on the board and I say, hey, I'm going to go put the laundry in the dryer. When I come back, all 3 of these, done. Ready? Go. Now, my child's working independently, but I come back in at the end, and even independent practice must be checked for accuracy. Again, it's not cheating to say, okay, these 2 are correct. Great job, Derek. This last one needs some help. And I'm going to go back. I'm not going to tell you what the right answer is. I'm going to go back and I'm going to remind you of something important that we talked about earlier on. And I might go back and do a little more instruction. So you can keep returning to instruction guided practice, independent practice, instruction guided practice, independent practice. That can be cyclical. It can just go round and round a little bit for a little bit of time, but eventually you come to closure. And closure is the 5th and final step in the 5-step lesson plan. And that's where you evaluate a final assignment. So that could be a quiz. It could be a test. For me, it would be the final essay that a student has gone through all the writing steps and now says, okay, I am finally done. And that's where you get the feedback. You offer it to the child. You make any corrections, make any changes, repeat any instruction if necessary. Once that is finalized, that lesson is considered complete. Now, do you have to write out a 5-step lesson plan every week for every lesson that you do? No, this becomes so second nature. It's not difficult, I promise. You already probably remember. Step 1, get the kids excited. It's called the anticipatory set. Step 2, let me teach them, right? That's called instruction. Step 3, let me guide them and make sure they're on the right track, right? That's guided practice. Step 4, okay, you do it on your own. I'll be back. That's independent practice. And then step 5, that's closure. That's your test, your quiz, however you're finalizing things. It could just be a verbal understanding of what was covered. That's what you would do there at the end, okay? All right, I really hope you feel motivated to get so involved in what it is your child is learning, or more involved. So many of you are very involved, so maybe get even more involved. It's important that you show your kids that their education matters to you, and it can be fun. And this could force you to make things more fun too. You're like, oh, wait, this is going to make me have to do a little more work on my end. Absolutely. That's what good teachers do. That's what makes teachers so valuable. So there you go. I have to say, I really believe that had this frustrated mom known that she should guide her child through each step of the writing process, I really do not think she would have ever been confused. I think she would have learned so much about writing herself. And I think she could have completely avoided the frustration altogether. So if you've been feeling frustrated, I hope you put this into practice. You can hit me up for any ideas, inspiration. I can help out. And like I said, I have this lesson plan as a document. You can actually print it. You could save it electronically. It's a good visual. You could put it at the front of your lesson plan book. You're going to find that link in the show notes. And while you're in the notes section of my podcast, would you consider giving this podcast 5 stars? I would love that so much, but only if it's been helpful, of course. I really want you to do it if you really are enjoying this. You could even write a raving review. I had somebody named Coastal California say with her 5-star review, genuinely awesome. Melissa brings new meaning to what a cheerleader is. She offers real-life stories and solutions backed by years of teaching experience. Have a question? Contact her. She always answers and treats everyone with dignity and respect. But don't just take my word for it. Have a listen, and you might just find yourself inspired. And I hope you do. Thank you so much, Coastal California. That means the world to me. I really appreciate it. So, let's do this. Let's show up as the best homeschool teacher we can possibly be. And let's leave frustration back outside in the yard, far from us. It doesn't even get to come inside. Let's leave it back there. You can do this, and you don't have to do it alone. All right, everybody. Remember, if you need help with writing, come check out writeonweb.com. That's WRITEONWEBB, 2 B's and my last name, and see what I have to offer. I would love to help you in your homeschooling journey. Right on. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and listening this week. Hey, if this was something that you found valuable, don't forget you want to subscribe or follow so that every time a new episode is dropped, you'll be the first to know. And hey, before you go, if you are looking to get some of this academic writing under your belt and outsourced so that it's one less thing, freeing you up to enjoy more time with your family, hey, you're going to want to head over to writeonweb.com to see what kinds of resources and materials I have available for you. I will look forward to seeing you there, and I will look forward to seeing you here in our next episode. Right on.